Think Hollywood age gaps are shocking today? Wait till you hear what was going on in the golden age of cinema. From teenage brides to leading men old enough to be grandfathers, old Hollywood had some truly jaw-dropping romances. Here are 15 that will leave you speechless. Charlie Chaplin, the legendary silent film icon, was 54 years old when he married ONeal in 1943. Una, the daughter of renowned playwright Eugene O'Neill, was just 18 at the time, a staggering 36-year age gap that shocked both Hollywood and her family. In fact, her father was so outraged by the marriage that he disowned her. Despite the controversy, their relationship turned out to be deeply committed. They had 8 children together and remained married until Chaplin's death in 1977. While critics questioned their union, those close to them often described it as loving and stable. Their story stands out as one of the most surprising yet enduring romances of old Hollywood. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall's love story began in 1944 on the set of To Have and Have Not. Bogart was 45, a seasoned Hollywood star, while Bacall was just 19 and making her film debut. Despite the 25-year age gap, the chemistry between them was undeniable. Their on-screen spark quickly turned into a real-life romance that captivated Hollywood. At the time, Bogart was married, but he eventually divorced and married Bacall in 1945. Many doubted the relationship would last, but they proved everyone wrong. The couple remained devoted until Bogart's death in 1957. Their love was considered one of the most iconic and genuine romances in Hollywood's golden age, defying both the odds and the headlines. Gable and Carrie Lombard were true Hollywood royalty, both incredibly successful and adored by fans. When they met in the early 1930s, Gable was already a major star, and Lombard was a rising comedic talent. Although they first worked together on the film No Man of Her Own in 1932, their romantic relationship didn't begin until years later. By the time they married in 1939, Gable was 38 and Lombard was 25, creating a 13-year age gap that raised some eyebrows, but their chemistry was undeniable. Their marriage was filled with genuine affection, humor, and shared respect. Sadly, their love story ended in tragedy just 3 years later, when Lombard died in a plane crash during a World War II Bond tour. Gable was devastated and never fully recovered from the loss. Their short-lived but passionate romance remains one of the most iconic love stories in Hollywood history. Errol Flynn, the swashbuckling star of Captain Blood and the Adventures of Robin Hood, was 49 years old when he began a highly controversial relationship with Beverly Oddland, a teenage actress just 17 at the time. Their 28-year age gap shocked the public and media, especially since Oddland was still legally underage when they met. The relationship began in the late 1950s and was marked by both glamour and scandal. Despite widespread criticism, Oddland claimed their bond was genuine, describing Flynn as charming and deeply affectionate, though troubled by alcoholism and fading fame. She was with him when he died of a heart attack in 1959, just 2 years after their relationship began. Flynn's turbulent personal life had long been tabloid fodder, but this final chapter stirred renewed outrage. To this day, their relationship remains one of the most controversial age gap romances in old Hollywood history. Frank Sinatra, the legendary singer and actor, was 50 years old when he married Mia Farrow, who was just 21, in 1966. Their 29-year age difference made headlines and sparked intense public interest. Sinatra was already a seasoned icon of old Hollywood, known for his charisma and many high-profile relationships, while Farrow was a young rising star in the film industry. Despite their differences in age and experience, they were deeply drawn to each other. However, the marriage was short-lived and lasted only about 2 years. Rumors of tension and incompatibility surfaced, fueled by their very different lifestyles and personalities. Still, their relationship remains one of the most talked about Hollywood mismatches, symbolizing both the allure and challenges of large age gaps in showbiz romances. Even decades later, their story continues to fascinate fans of old Hollywood. Gary Cooper, a celebrated Hollywood leading man, was 46 years old when he began a passionate affair with Patricia, who was just 21 at the time. Neal was a rising starlet, full of promise and talent, while Cooper was already an established icon with decades of success. Despite Cooper being married during their relationship, the two were drawn to each other, sparking a romance that attracted intense public and media scrutiny. Their 25-year age gap and the secretive nature of their affair created a turbulent dynamic, marked by emotional highs and lows. Under mounting pressure from Cooper's family and Hollywood circles, the relationship ultimately ended, though it left a lasting impression on both their lives. Neal would go on to have a celebrated acting career, while Cooper remained one of old Hollywood's most respected leading men. Their story is remembered as one of the era's most complicated romances. Cary Grant, one of old Hollywood's most charming leading men, was 61 years old when he married actress Diane Cannon, who was 28 at the time, a striking 33-year age difference. Despite the age gap, their relationship initially seemed full of promise and mutual affection. Cannon was an up-and-coming actress known for her wit and talent, while Grant was a legendary star with decades of experience and fame. They married in 1965 and had one daughter together, Jennifer Grant, who later became an actress herself. However, the marriage was short-lived, lasting only 4 years before they divorced in 1969. The couple's relationship was often scrutinized by the media, focusing on the large age difference and the challenges it brought. Nevertheless, their brief union remains one of the most talked-about age gap romances in Hollywood history, showing that even legends faced complex personal relationships. James Stewart, one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, married Gloria Hatrick McClean in 1949 when he was 41 years old and she was 33. Compared to many other famous old Hollywood couples, their 8-year age difference was relatively modest, but their relationship was no less significant or enduring. Gloria, a former model and actress, was known for her grace and strong character, complementing Stewart's down-to-earth and humble persona. Their marriage was marked by deep mutual respect, love, and a commitment to family life away from the intense spotlight of Hollywood. Together, they raised Stewart's 2 sons from a previous marriage and later had twin daughters. Gloria played a stabilizing role throughout Stewart's career, supporting him through both his professional highs and personal challenges. They remained devoted until Gloria's death in 1994, nearly a decade before Stewart passed away. Their relationship is often seen as a model of a lasting, loving partnership amid Hollywood's often turbulent romances. Joan Crawford and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. were one of old Hollywood's most glamorous couples, but their age gap was a bit unusual for the time. Crawford was actually older than Fairbanks. They married in 1929 when Crawford was reportedly 25, and Fairbanks Jr. was just 19, making her about 6 years his senior. However, some sources suggest that Crawford might have been closer to 30, which would mean the age gap was even wider. Despite this, their marriage was filled with excitement and passion, blending Crawford's established stardom with Fairbanks Jr.'s emerging career. Their relationship was closely followed by the public, fascinated by the dynamic of the older woman-younger man pairing, which was less common back then. Though they eventually divorced in 1933, their time together left a mark on Hollywood history. Crawford continued to build her legacy as a powerful leading lady, while Fairbanks Jr. grew into his own star, proving that love and success can cross traditional boundaries. Elizabeth Taylor, one of Hollywood's most legendary actresses, shocked many when she married Larry Fortensky, a construction worker 20 years her junior. Taylor was 59 years old, while Fortensky was 39 when they tied the knot in 1991. The couple met at the Betty Ford Center during rehabilitation, where both were seeking help for personal struggles. Their relationship surprised the public because it broke many Hollywood norms, not only due to the significant age difference but also because Fortensky came from a completely different background. Despite this, their bond was genuine, rooted in shared experiences and mutual support. Their wedding at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch was a highly publicized event, attended by many celebrities. However, the marriage lasted only 5 years, ending in divorce in 1996. Still, their relationship is remembered as an example of love that transcended age and social status, highlighting Elizabeth Taylor's willingness to follow her heart regardless of Hollywood expectations. Howard Hughes, the famously reclusive billionaire, inventor, and film producer, was well into his 40s when he began courting actress Jean Peters, who was in her early 20s. Their relationship, marked by a 20-year age difference, was both fascinating and complicated, set against the backdrop of Hughes's eccentric and often secretive lifestyle. Jean Peters was a talented actress known for her roles in films like Pickup on South Street and Captain from Castile. Despite the huge gap in their ages and Hughes's intense, often controlling personality, Peters managed to maintain a relatively normal life compared to many of Hughes's other romantic involvements. Their relationship was emblematic of the era's Hollywood romances where age differences were not uncommon, but Hughes's reputation as a mysterious and sometimes difficult man added a layer of intrigue. While Peters and Hughes never married, she was one of the few women who stayed close to him during a time when his mental health was deteriorating. Their story remains one of the more discreet but notable age gap romances in old Hollywood history, blending glamour, power, and complexity. Greta Garbo, the mysterious and iconic Swedish actress of Hollywood's golden age, was famously private about her personal life. However, in the late 1930s, she was romantically linked to Leopold Stokowski, a world-renowned conductor who was 30 years her senior. Garbo was in her mid-30s at the time, while Stokowski was in his 60s and already a prominent figure in the classical music world, known for his flamboyant conducting style and his previous marriage to socialite Gloria Vanderbilt. Though neither Garbo nor Stokowski ever publicly confirmed a romantic relationship, their frequent appearances together and exotic travels, particularly a highly publicized trip to the Caribbean, sparked rumors in both Hollywood and high society. Despite the significant age gap, they were often seen enjoying each other's company in an intimate, quiet manner, fitting Garbo's famously reclusive nature. The pairing was unusual not only because of the age difference but also because both individuals were fiercely independent and enigmatic in their own ways. Their connection, whether romantic or deeply platonic, added another layer of intrigue to Garbo's already mythic persona. Even today, their rumored romance remains a fascinating and mysterious footnote in the history of old Hollywood relationships.